Hello, y'all. Welcome to the Myron J Show. This is Topic Tuesday, each and every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and all that good stuff. So today's topic is Black fatherhood. But before we get into that, I got a couple great guests with me today that we're going to talk about that particular topic. Going to see what's going on in their heads, see how they feel about the topic, and see if we can put a little advice out there, drop some gems, some encouragement to inspire someone, and try to pretty much figure out what's the gap and why is there a reason, what's the reason rather, why men are not in the household and or in their kids' life. Now, before we get into that, as a disclaimer, we do know that we have a lot of great Black men in the household that are great fathers, that are really doing what they need to do as men without any child support, without people just being all on them for not doing what they're supposed to do. So we do have a lot of great men out there, and we commend them. We admire them as well, despite what the media may say. I know a lot of times the media don't always show us in a good light when it comes to fatherhood and marriage and us being in the household or us taking care of kids. So, and I do understand that this is in every single race. Deadbeat fathers, single fathers, fathers doing good, some fathers not doing good or doing what they're supposed to do in their kids' life. So we do know that's in every single race, but we can't speak on other people's race because we're not other races. We speaking on our own community and what we can do to prevent that, see what kind of information that we can offer as well. So ladies first, I want to introduce my first guest, Miss Candis Perdue. I hope I said your name right. Please don't beat me up about it, but I hope I said your name right. So Miss Candis, I was just on her show yesterday. We had a great time. I really appreciate her for having me on the show. And I follow her on Instagram. And so we just decided to do a show together. So I just came back and said, hey, come on, be on my show. And I really appreciate her because she got in my DMs a couple of times. Not to holler at me, y'all. Don't get excited. She got in my DMs a couple of times and she really like dropped some important information to me, man, just to motivate me to keep me going. She was like, man, people watching, keep doing what you're doing. And we never know how a person is feeling at the moment. We never know what a person is going through, that type of thing. And for someone to get in your DMs or to message you or say something to you, it really means a lot to me as a person because sometimes you just might not know what I'm going through. Like they say, check on your strong friends, you know? And so I really appreciate you for dropping that information in my DM. You just don't understand how much that meant to me. This is like a complete stranger, y'all, that told me this. She don't even know me, but she just got in my DM just, you know. But hey, it makes me want to keep going, keep doing my thing. So I really appreciate you. So let me get off that little moment right there. I just want to throw that out there. So Candis, let us know where you from. Let us know what you do. Let's get into your business a little bit. You got the floor.
Okay, well, like you said, my name is Candis Perdue. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I am a third grade reading and writing teacher. And on top of that, I am a new author. I just published my first children's book in June. The title of the book is called Pretty and Brown. You can find it in Amazon, Target, Barnes and Nobles, Books A Million, Walmart. And it just speaks to just the beauty within a Black girl. And it touches on self-esteem issues that they go through at a young age and how to tap into that so that when they are grown adult women, it's not magnified, those issues that carry on to other relationships. And I have other books on the way that's going to kind of like basically touch on other things in the Black community with Black boys growing up in society today, as well as our teens. But that's pretty much me in a nutshell. And like Myron said at the beginning, I have a talk show on Instagram that I do every Tuesday called Candis's Candid Talk Tuesdays. And we just have candid conversations. And on some of the Tuesdays, I'll finish the show off with a spoken word piece on whatever topic that is. And I'm also a published poet as well. And I have a few poems out on all major platforms as well. So that's pretty much me. Hey, everybody.
Thank you so much. What's your Instagram? Let us know how can we follow you.
My Instagram is Taylor _May 87. And you can tap into that. And I have a few other pages. And if you tap into my main, which is Taylor May 87, you can you'll see the links or the apps to the other Instagram pages as well.
Oh, y'all, she got like 45 Instagram tagging me left and right. Like, who are all these people tagging me? All right. So my next guest is from my hometown of Canton, Mississippi. Just to let you know, I am in Dallas, Texas. Again, Candis in Tampa, Florida. I got my guy, Roberto Williams. He's in Canton, Mississippi. Exit 119. You know, we always got to represent. So I pretty much grew up with this guy. We played football together. Just done a lot of great things. We did virtual events together. And so all around great guy. Would not have him on the show if I feel like he wasn't a great guy and a great inspiration to the young guys and people in general in Canton, Mississippi. He actually ran for alderman in 2017, along with myself. I ran for mayor in 2017. So only because, well, one of the reasons I know and Roberto can agree to it, because we want to see a change in our community. We want in our city, we want some great things to happen and want some great things to start moving along and try to upgrade here and there. So Mr. Roberto Williams, let us know about yourself. Introduce yourself, man. Let's get in your business a little bit.
All right. Well, my name is Roberto Williams. I've been a barber of 16 years. I'm also a hair care product owner, Master Hair Care. I'm also a watch company owner, Time Check Watch Company. I'm also a chairman on the board of commissioners at Canton Municipal Utilities. So I'm just living life, man, trying to enjoy all the amenities, Doc.
I understand that. And so you are a life master coach. Tell us how long you've been doing that and what made you, get into the life master coach.
Well, I always wanted to recognize my gifts, man. And as a barber, until the past 3 years, maybe, I was able to realize that I do more than just cut hair. All of my clients that sit in my chair, I know something very personal about them. And I also help them with their ideas or goals that they may have or any issue that they may deal with. So me praying and thinking and asking God about what else it is that I'm supposed to be doing, I also realized that, well, I talked to God and I came up with that answer of being a life coach. So I recognize that gift by the clients that sit in my chair. So I've had a lot of experience to that over the 18 years I've been cutting hair. So I can't really put a time cap on that, man.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So Candis, back to you. We're going to start with you. But before we get to it, let us know what got you started on your show and what is your show pretty much is about and how long you have been doing your show as well.
Ironically, and he was talking about like him cutting hair and how clients come in and it's a lot. You talk about personal issues. I was actually getting my hair braided and I was just talking, and I know my purpose is to educate and to facilitate and to kind of impact in that way. But I'm starting to think it's being bigger than the classroom setting and the classroom stage. And I was getting my hair done and I just kept saying, it's something else I can add on to this. It's something else I can capitalize on. Right. And as we were talking, she just started just throwing out stuff. And then I started intertwining some of the things she was saying. And I was like, boom, there it goes. I'm gonna do I was like, okay, a little YouTube podcast. But then I was like, I want to put a spin on it because I write poetry. And poetry has helped me basically get through self-esteem issues and a lot of, hard times or times when I was struggling or my healing process pretty much. And I was like, okay, so let me see. Candid. I want to be candid. I want to be honest in the conversation because you never know who is going through the same thing you're going through. And it's good for people to see, I ain't the only person going through this. Like, okay. And I feel like she's being honest. And I think when you're being candid and honest, people connect with you on a different level. So I was like, boom. And then not only am I going to talk about whatever the topic or issue is, I'm going to go ahead and put my little poetry spoken word piece on it. So I started last year, December, actually. And after that, like people were commenting, like sharing, like they were really getting into it. I was like, okay, God, I hear you. So I stopped watching who was viewing it and how many views I got, how many likes I got. And I really started doing it because it was therapeutic for me.
Right.
to have these candid conversations, for people to comment or go on my DM and say, yo, can you talk about this? I don't want to, comment under the thing because I don't want people to know, but do you mind speaking on this topic or this subject? So it was really helping a lot of people, unbeknownst to me at the beginning. So here we are, and I'm going to keep it going. So that's pretty much how it got started.
Awesome. That's it. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we have to understand that the lights may not be there, the views may not be there, but we got to keep pushing. We got to keep promoting ourselves and marketing ourselves to really just get our name out there and to brand ourselves. So many times we worry about the other stuff to the point we can't focus on what we actually started, or the reason why we started our business and our brand. All right. So let's get into it. Black fatherhood. So we understand there's a lot of men, a lot of great men out there. There are fathers that's in blended families if they're married in the household. We got single fathers. So what do y'all think that? And so I want to get, well, first of all, I want to get into the men that's not in their kids' life. How important it is, and anyone you can answer that, how important it is for a father to be in their child's life. What you guys think on that situation? Roberto, I said Roberto go first.
Okay. Well, it's very important for a male to be in a child's life, no matter how big or small the time that you have been in their life. It affects them a lot. Just the presence of them being there, like I said, whether it's a consistent presence or any presence at all is good. But you would like for the situation to be with the child and the father to have a consistent relationship with each other. So you're developing that with the conversations that you have. And with the child being young, you don't get a chance to express that conversation between man and son. But as they get older, you create a bigger bond when it comes to the part of being in their life.
Okay. So what do you have, Candis? What do you think? And Candis, real quick, I know Berto has a blended family, and he's married. And then, so Candis, you have 2 kids, correct?
I have 2 kids, a son that's 13 and a daughter that's 8. I am single. Okay. Basically, I have been doing this since they were born. They both have different fathers. I'm putting y'all in my game room of business. And the scenarios are kind of the same. My son saw his father once when he was 10. My daughter has never seen her father. I have exhausted all my resources and abilities to make that happen. So as far as speaking on the importance, I feel it's very important. My son didn't voice that, that part was missing. He had a void. He never asked about his father until about maybe 8. He didn't even say it verbally. I just saw him, acting out. It was things just going on in school. It was just, okay, I couldn't tap into it. And, I'm a woman, so I couldn't tap into those things. And I have a father, I have a brother, but they're not in my household consistently, you understand? So he's just used to me. And it was just like, okay, what do I have to do? Because there's something going on with my baby. And I couldn't get to him. So I took him to therapy. And then we started honing in on some issues, and there was things they talked about that I'm still not certain of to this day that they discussed. But as I started to pray, and I'm like, God, just reveal to me, because I need to know which way I need to go and exactly how I need to pray for what is going on with my child. Like this scary to me, like this transition, how he's acting out. And then we got to the place to where I was able to reach out one more time to the fraternal grandmother, and I'm so sorry. I was able to reach out to the fraternal grandmother one more time, and we were able to do something to where at this point in time, he's 10 now, he got to see his father for about 20 minutes. And the father had said he had something to do. So it was that kind of thing. And then it was just my son trying to keep in contact with him. And then my son came to me about a couple months later. He's like, Mom, he was like, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay with just you. Like, I understand. He was like, I don't get it. And he actually did a Tropicana speech, what we do in Florida. And it was a speech, and it just talked about your word being your bond. and he expressed himself. He had to write a paper, and he expressed himself about how he's always getting let down and how he doesn't trust men. And it was very powerful, and that spoke to me. So right then and there, it's like, yo, your child has been hurting for this long because of that particular void. Yes, he does have a grandfather, and yes, he does have an uncle, but that thing was missing. So that really made me like self-reflect as a mother. And I'm like, okay, I can't do anything about him not wanting to be there. I can't do anything about him not being here. But what can I do, and what can I change about how I'm raising my son? And I had to come to the realization that you're not a man, Candis. Mm-hmm. Understand that you're not a man. So there are certain things you would never be able to teach him, but you can model for him on how a man should treat a woman, or how a man should operate when it comes to being in the household, and teach him how to treat whoever he's going to be with, and teach him how to treat his sister, because she, she's a girl as well. So treat her how you would want somebody to treat your mother. So it just came to that point, and it's still a transition. He's 13 now. I've never been a 13-year-old boy. So he's still doing little things, little testing the waters and trying me a little bit. So I have to figure out certain ways to kind of counter whatever it is he's going through, but still understand that he's a teenager going through changes, and not be like so on top of him, if you get what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. And that's why it's so important for the men to be in their kids' life, because we always say a woman can't raise a man. We can't raise little girls. We can raise them to a certain degree. Like you just said, you can show them how to treat a woman to a certain degree, but it's only so much that you can do. And there's only so much that we can do when it comes to little girls. And there's a lot of men that's out there that will literally go in and get their sons and raise them. And so that's why it's so important, because it's so much that we can teach them, and they look for us, or look to us, for leadership and for discipline, and to just basically raise them and show them the way and how to be respectful. And so I commend you on what you're doing. You tried, you did your part at the end of the day, and that's the only thing that you could do. So when he told you that he's all right, he's good, how did it make you feel? What was the thought process going on at that point?
I was still a little taken aback. I'm really like, is he really good? And then I also at the same time was like, okay, God, you're gonna have to do this thing, because maybe this is how you're working this thing out. This is how you're actually helping me as well, because now it kind of felt like pressure was up off of me, pretty much, like I couldn't force it. So my hands were tied at that point. And when my son realized on his own, it don't have nothing to do with my mother. I never spoken bad about neither one of their fathers. They'll never hear me say anything bad. They asked the question, they got it. So I allowed him to reach his own conclusion. So he drew the conclusion that this person is inconsistent. This person does not want to put any effort for me. And my son is very smart, very intellectual. So he understands, and he understood at a very young age. So for him to tell me that at 10, like, and to know like, yo, this man ain't even trying, he ain't putting in no effort. And he said, Mom, I don't want to call him. Mom, I don't want to call. Like, why should I have to call? Like, I'm the kid. He's been out of my life for 10 years. Why should I have to call? Why do I have to keep calling? He's not even trying to answer my phone calls. And at that point, my son drew his conclusion, and we talk about it now. I ask him, he's okay. Like, he's like, Mom, good. I'm fine. Like, I'm okay, Mom. Yeah, I don't, but I'm okay. I know that maybe later on in the future, of course, there are going to be some issues and some things going on, but we're going to pray. We're going to work through that thing. And my prayer is that whoever God sends, whoever's going to be my husband, that person is able to fill in that gap and do and basically take the torch and fill in those holes.
Right.
That's, you know what I'm saying? That's voided, that's missing, those little gray areas to where my son doesn't understand certain things about growing up as a Black adolescent to a man. So whenever God sends that person, I know it's going to fit right in, and it's going to be aligned, and it's going to help my son on whatever transition that he's going to have as far as his adulthood is going to go.
Right. And before I get to Roberto, let me ask you this. How was you guys' relationship in the beginning? Like, was it one of those situations where he just seemed like he wanted to be there at one point, and also he changed his mind? Y'all had
ironically, I'm the common denominator in both of the situations. both of them, I told you my daughter has a different father as well. So both of the scenarios played out the same way. When I got pregnant, it was like, boom, I'm ghost. But the situation was the person was selfish. The person was all about self. They had other situations going on, like unbeknownst to me, doing whatever they was doing on the side. So when you got a few other babies on the way that I don't know about, but you got all of this other stuff going on, it's chaos in your brain. It's chaos in your mind. So you don't know how to properly function and operate because you got side things going on over here. Then you got this side thing impregnated. Then you got this going on over here. You can barely take care of yourself because you're living with me or whatever the case is. You can't even think properly. So at this moment, your mindset is, it's all about me. So I'm going to go on to the next person. And this is how it went. I'm going to go on to the next female who can take care of me and do this. But in the process, you go into these different women's houses, but living with them and they're taking care of you, but you're impregnating them as well. So now we got all these different kids that's not going to have a father that is present and active. And you can't properly and effectively father them because you were in too many different households. And then you don't want anything to do with either one of them because you were only in a situation so that you can be okay, so that you can have a roof over your head, and so that your situation could be okay for the moment. So you created this vicious cycle. And now we got all these siblings out here that's probably never going to know each other. And then you got all of these women potentially bickering because of whatever you were telling them or whatever role you were playing while you were with them, so to speak.
Yeah, they end up started fighting their siblings and getting into it with them and even dating them. They end up dating them after a while. So Roberto, and hearing Candis' story, I know you're a football coach and you've been coaching for a long time. I know you deal with a lot of young men that, I won't say a lot because I don't know the story. I don't want to make sense that bad. But I know you have dealt with, even when people come to you as a barber, I know you have dealt with kids that on the football field that don't have fathers in their life. So okay. What's your take on what Candis saying and the whole part of men not being in kids' lives?
Well, as a father, I understand where she coming from, because with my kids and their mom, we have good conversations with each other now. We're not gonna see eye to eye all the time. We're not gonna. That's not gonna happen. But the conversation and the compromise that we make with each other when it comes to our children, then that's the best thing to have. Now, as a coach, you would see a lot of times that the father would not be there at practices, and you would always see a lot of mothers at practices.
Yeah.
So I mean, the whole practice field is full of moms, but at those times, you don't ask the question like, "Where is his dad?" But you just try to be there for that child at that moment. Because now if he comes to you with something personal, which I've had that experience before, you try to relate to them as if you were talking to your child. So you try to be that person in their life that can at least give them some type of reason when it comes to any issue that they may be dealing with, especially like in school or dealing with their peers and all that stuff.
Yeah, because it's whatever role model or mentor you play in a child's life is clearly is always important. Your mom, your dad can be there, your uncle can be there, but there is nothing like your not your dad, but your granddad, your uncles can be there, but it's nothing like your father, like having your father. It really hurts the kids. So because once the kids start to see their friends with their fathers and or mothers, it makes them feel kind of like, I don't have my dad. And I don't think that men literally know how it feels. But a couple of reasons, and y'all might have your own reasons as well that y'all can add. But one of the reasons why men are not being around their kids' life is because they don't know how to be fathers. They don't know what to do, how to do it, none of that. So instead of them learning, and they don't know how to be that way because a lot of them grew up with single fathers. Well, not single father, I'm sorry, with a single mother, and the father wasn't in their lives. So you would think that they'll probably grow up like, you know what, I don't want to be this kind of person. I'm going to be a better man than him, but it doesn't always work that way. And so with that being said, a lot of fathers, instead of them trying to figure this thing out, they run. They get, like Candis said, they get ghosts, because they don't want any responsibility. They don't want to, especially when it comes to finances, putting the time in, putting the efforts in. buying them gifts, whatever situation may be. They don't want to put in their responsibility, so they rather run or get ghosts instead of just actually being fathers in their kids' lives. The other reason could be, and I'm not just making no excuse, I'm just giving reasons why some men are not in their kids' life, is that some women or moms push them away. They're bitter. They're mad because the guy don't want to be with them. They're mad because the guy don't want to get the money or the amount of money they feel like they should have. They don't want that child to be around other women that he may be dating. And one other reason, which could be kind of valid in the sense, is some women feel like the man is not ready to be a father, meaning that he might be on drugs, he might be alcoholic, he might be running the streets, he may not be, might be a gangbanger, whatever situation may be. They feel like he's not ready to be a father. Granted, it's not her choice to make that choice in a sense, but that woman is going to definitely make sure that she has make the right decision for her child or their child at the end of the day. So do y'all have any other reason why it could be, any other reason why a man or father won't be in a kid's life besides the one that I listed? Or do y'all have anything to add to those suggestions?
Well, to piggyback off of what you said about that father not having his father coming up, I can speak on myself when it comes to that, because I met my father when I was 12 years old. And the next time I saw him again, I was like 17. And as I became an adult, I developed a relationship with him as an adult because I wanted to know the things that he didn't do that I wouldn't do to my kids.
Right.
The things he didn't do for me as a parent, I wouldn't want to do that to my kids. Now, when
because you knew how it made you feel, so that's why you didn't want it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So when I deal with my children and their moms, like you say, you're not going to agree on everything. And then one reason why I say a lot of fathers aren't in their child's life is because when dealing with the relationship that you had with that woman, you tend to try to shy away from that because you don't want the issue. Sometimes you try to go along to get along. Sometimes you try to keep the argument down, you just do stuff. Then when they don't want you to do something, when they do something, then when they want you to do something and you don't agree with it and you don't do it, then that woman would take that child away from you. Now, I'm not saying all women would do that, but it happens before. And I've seen that through the experience of the people that sit in my chair and some of my own personal experiences.
Okay. So Candis, you stated that, you would shake your head on the bitter baby mama part of it. What's your...
No, I actually was agreeing because I have someone that's very close that they're going through that situation. And I know they're excellent father. Like they, not just financially, but at every little thing, they're there, they're present, they make their presence known, and they give life lessons. And that's what a lot of things are missing. People just buy their kids, but they don't sit down and have these life lessons. And let me explain to you why I'm working the way I'm working and what I'm building for you. And this is what I have to put aside for you. And teaching those kids about finances and different things that's going to help them beyond what daddy can do for you and the child support check can do for you, or what you can go do and get you some food stamps or get you some Medicaid or whatever that case is. So I feel a way when I see baby mamas keeping their children away from the father or trying to manipulate the dad to come back or whatever the case is by hanging child support over their head. I feel a certain type of way because my kids don't have that. You get what I'm saying? I don't have that luxury to be playing with somebody, which I wouldn't because of, that's just not me. But my kids don't have that. Like they can't, okay, Mom, you gonna let daddy come get us today? My daughter had to say to me, Mom, why I don't got no daddy? She was 3 years old. We watching my niece play cheer at the football field, and my niece dad comes and she looks at me and say, Mom, why I don't got no daddy? So as a 3-year-old telling you that, and she made that connection and she understood, I'm out here. I see everybody daddies coming to see them and cheering for their daughters, but I'm something missing, Mom. Where my daddy? And that was just plain and simple. Why I don't have a daddy? So I feel certain ways when women do that because I see the hurt with my children. I've experienced that transition and what they go through when it comes to that. So that's why I was shaking my head like, You know, everybody has their own situation, but when it comes money, that's gonna go. Okay, like that monetary and all of those tangible things, that's gonna go. But I feel like what stays with a child forever is moments. Oh, I remember when we did this and we used to play this and my dad and my mom took us there, or we just went outside and went to the park. Like, kids remember that stuff. So, and that helps them like through their life. Like, society is already crazy enough.
Yeah.
So when you're going through turmoil in your house and turmoil within yourself and you can't understand, like, that's already rejection as a child. Them kids don't understand what's wrong with me that my father or this person chooses not to be here. And the whole while, if you got the ball in your hand and the ball on your court and you can prevent that bit of rejection, because society already gonna give them a whole bunch of rejection. I'm talking about our Black kids. So if you can prevent that as a mother and you're able to, why we doing that? Why we playing those games with these balls and figuring, no, I'm gonna keep the ball in my court because he ain't doing what I want him to do, or he talking to her, or whatever the case is, but not understanding that that child is suffering, that child going through a rejection phase, and you causing it right now because you're forcing the rejection because you can't have your way with the father. So yeah, I empathize with the kids when it comes to that, and I'm a teacher. I see it every day, all day.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, and that coming from a woman. I used to say that all the time. I said, kids don't really, they're not going to remember the money. They're not going to remember the gifts you bought them. They're going to remember that time that you put in with them, that quality time. You taking them to the fair, you take them to out to eat, date night with your daughters, whatever situation may be. That's what they're going to remember for the rest of their life. They're not going to remember the money that you're sending their mom and all the other kind of stuff. And so when you say, so what's your message to women that actually do that actually hang the money over their head? What's your message to them?
My message to them is look at the bigger picture. Like, the situation is not about you. We're supposed to be doing what's best for our children. So my message to them is always put your child and their well-being first. If that person is not a danger to your child and not going to put your child in harm's way, and not, I can understand if they're doing drugs and all that in front of the child or exposing the child to certain stuff. But if they're not going to do that and they're potentially a very good person and you know they can be a good father, give them that opportunity. Give the child that opportunity to have that bond and to experience what they need to experience. And if the man is a bad man or whatever the case is, just like my child had to find that out on his own, and I'm not saying he's a bad person, just his actions or ways just wasn't conducive to my situation. Allow the child to experience certain things because they're going to have to learn anyway. I'm not saying put your child in a situation to where they're going to be traumatized, but we know we manipulating a person and holding money over their head and a person a detriment or a danger to the child. And we also know if that person really, really good to the child and they're going to be just the best thing that they've ever experienced. And quite naturally, if you manipulating a person like that, you know they're going to be good for the child. That's how you're able to control, because a person that ain't going nothing to do with them, you wouldn't have to hang child support over their head or manipulating them in that way. So
they don't even bother those kind.
Yeah, they ain't even going to be around. So you already know what you're dealing with. Just allow the kids to build that bond with their fathers. Allow them to have that. You can worry about that money stuff later because that come and go. But allow them children, go to court for the money thing if that's what you got to do, but let them children get their time with them fathers, please.
Yeah, because that money can come and go. You don't know what a person, they can lose their job today. Then what you gonna do? Roberto, what you got for me, man? What you got with this conversation with Candis stating as well?
Well, you said you asked the question of what advice would you give the woman, and my advice would be just to continue to try to have a conversation with. Yeah. Keep your line of communications open, and like you said, sometimes a lot of times you're not going to agree with each other, but your child should be your best interest. That's just like me and my children's moms. We have conversations all the time about the child and what they have going on. Now, I'm a terrible person when it comes to scheduling, so I forget stuff. So I have to be reminded all the time. But she may not like it, but at the whole time, she communicate with me. So in order to have the best interest in the child, she deals with that part of me and my faults.
Right.
I may have my problem with her, but the whole time we talk about the things that have our common interest is their child. So we just try to, and I just tell the women to try to keep a line of communication open and leave the arguing at the door.
Yeah, and you got to think about this too. Is and a lot of times the mom, and granted, I know it's some single fathers out there for sure. So again, y'all, we're not talking about this. We're not talking about the single fathers. We're not talking about the men that's actually doing what they need to do in the household. We appreciate them always. So, but we're trying to figure this side of the world out, I guess you can say. So, and I always feel like it's very selfish when a woman act that way toward a man, when they won't let them see him because of all the reasons that Candis listed and what Roberto said and what I said. Is very selfish at the end of the day, because they're making it about them and not the kids. They're making it about that person's business. Like Candis was saying, who they worried about who they talking to. They worried about the fact that they're not with them anymore and they want them back, and they're hurt. They're still hurting on the inside. They're not healed. And so, and every woman know, and everybody know, when a man really loves his kids, a woman will manipulate you. They will try to hold that over your head just to make you mad and make you angry, because they know that's the only thing that's going to get to you. They know that's the only thing that's going to make you mad. And so in that, you cause all kind of chaos. And the only people or person that's hurting at the end of the day is the child. So what we have to do is, what men have to do rather, and women, we have to learn how to come together. We have to be team players in this whole thing. Just make it about the kids only. How important, y'all tell me, how important is, like y'all were just talking about, how important is communication when it comes to, I know Roberto spoke on a little bit, I know Candis spoke on, how important is communication when it comes to kids, and how much is too much communication, if that's a thing?
You're asking us to answer that?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel that we should have daily communication, because when we leave kids, we leave it up to them to draw their own conclusions. They can draw some crazy, like kids, because they're exposed to so much nowadays anyways. They can draw some real ridiculous conclusions, and that's how their mind is thinking when the situation is pretty much not like what they're thinking. So having that, just like you would a spouse, how your day been? How you been feeling today? What took place today? Those conversations, you would be surprised how they'll just open it up and start telling you stuff. You be like, well, dog, I ain't even asked you that, but I'm glad I knew, because how long you been holding that in? So just doing them daily checkups on your child. Okay, you good? Okay, so, and when you start, even if they don't start speaking and answering you right off the bat, I promise you creating something to eventually, they're gonna be like, they may not say that for a couple months, but like, oh, it was straight, it was good, mom, it was good, dad. But eventually y'all might be riding in the car, they be like, Mom, Dad, guess what happened today? And you be like, wow, like you be blown, like, yo, they telling me this. But you're opening up that space for them to feel comfortable to share things with you, because as Black people, how long have we been keeping stuff generationally secrets? Stuff that should never have been secrets, and that has caused all these generational curses and all these different chains and bondages for people not to be able to properly heal, or men not to know how to properly express themselves without being called, excuse my language, a punk, a weak, or whatever the case is. Oh, you're supposed to cry because you're a man, or girl's supposed to do this. How long have all these different stereotypical sayings and things have been going on in the Black household, to where why we so dysfunctional as adults, and why we got these fatherless kids and these girls doing this? So I just think that's where it starts at, having communication. That'll break a lot of chains, that'll break a lot of curses and a lot of things. I just think just daily communication with your kids, checking up on them like you do somebody you're liking, you're intimate with, or whatever the case is.
Well, I actually learned something from you just then, because my kids have cell phones, and I text one of my sons, I wouldn't hear a response from him for 2 or 3 days. And I would get frustrated with that situation. Instead of me calling out there, so I end up having to call, like, golly, son, come on, answer the phone. I mean, or respond to my text message. Now, my other children, I have a daughter that's 16. She right on it. She's on it. Yeah. She's gonna text and answer and respond back quickly and all that. My other son.
You think it's an age thing or something? Is it an age thing? Or
it's the age.
My daughter's 10 years old. My daughter 10 years old. My daughter don't call me.
It's the individual child thing, because each child is different. Like each child has their own unique way, their own personalities. But I guarantee you, he gonna be like, dang, dad texting again. So he gonna be like, yo, he really trying to see what's up with me. Let me find some time and tell my daddy. So dad, let me tell you what's been going on for the last couple months. So just keep being consistent with that, because he gonna be like, yo, this man, what's up with him? He keep asking. Let me go ahead and just tell him I'm good, but this is what we got going on. So that right there, even though he's not speaking on it, that's being embedded into him unconsciously. Like, yo, I'm this age and my daddy's still checking up on me. He making sure I'm good, and I don't even text his man back, and he's still making sure I'm straight. Like, it's gonna get frustrating, but just keep doing that, because he's seeing that, and that's starting to be embedded inside of his heart, and then he's gonna be like, yo, like, okay, my daddy be shoot. That's my, so just keep doing that.
And in that, it's always good, just like y'all saying now, it's always good to show kids, hey, it's okay to reach out to your father, your parents sometime, especially if they're at that age where they can, literally knowing they can do that. It's okay for them. I was just talking to a friend about that today. It's okay for a child to reach out to their father, just say, hey, dad, or hey, mom, how you doing? How your day was? It's nothing wrong with that. Like my daughter, she's 10 years old. Like she'll probably end up getting there at some point. I'm gonna keep working on it, but it's okay for them to reach out to us sometime. We got to teach them that they can't just call us just when they want something. They got to call us, check on us, say, hey, how you doing or something. Then ask what you want. You know what I'm saying? But y'all kind of jumped my question. So let me bag back a little bit. So I was going to get to the communication with the kids. So let me bag back a little bit. So what I was asking was how important communication is when it comes to men and women talking about the kids, and how much is too much conversation. When I say how much is too much conversation, they should only talk when the kids is involved, not about personal business and what they got going on in each other's lives, unless they're just really cool like that. But mostly should be focused on the kids, and that's the only time they should be communicating with each other. What y'all think about that? What you got, Roberto?
Okay, well, the communication between the men and the women. When something's going on with the child, I understand they should have that conversation, because from a male's perspective, they would be able to give information. Like I said, if you have a son or a daughter, you can give a male's perspective from any situation. And a little too much, I don't know how deep could that be.
Is there a little too much? Like, is there such thing a little too much?
Yeah, I think it is. But I think that's
kind of look like, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. But you have to play it by ear when it comes to that. Because sometimes that conversation with the mom and the dad, and the dad's the dad's spouse or the mom's spouse or something like that, it may be dealing with that. And you never know if they dealing with something personal in their household, unless the child may tell you or the mom may tell you, but you won't understand all of that. But you have to, like I said, the communication part is very important. I just don't know how far you can and cannot take it though.
Yeah,
I think it's just a play it by ear type of deal.
Yeah, it's all depending on the relationship that you have with the mom, and of course they're gonna have their significant others, and you're gonna have yours. So I'm always gonna say that it should solely stay on the kids and focus on the kids. But now if y'all got a relationship where y'all can just joke about sports or something y'all saw on social media, then by all means that's between y'all. Everybody's situation is different. Candis, what you got? I think you ready to answer this one. I saw.
No, I'm just listening. It just depends on. I'm trying not to go venture off, but it just depends.
Go ahead.
It just depends on the dynamic in the relationship and the situation. Because if both of y'all single and y'all, you talk about what you want to talk about. If that's the kind of relationship y'all got, but if y'all got spouses and significant others,
it's a limit to that.
I'm gonna need you to keep about these kids. You understand? Of course, you can say, "Well, how you been?" Because you would want your child's mother or father to be okay. So you can ask them, you good mentally, how you doing, stuff like that. That's fine. You don't got to get too much into it because you can't. That's not your situation anymore. You can just know, so you can pray for the person. But out of respect for your spouse and your significant other, you shouldn't be talking about too much other than that, anyways. But if you single and y'all want to try to rekindle something, then what you got going on over there? Come on over here, the kid. You come on over to the house and see the kids. okay, them people can come to the house to see the kids. If that's your situation, if you don't have nothing going on and you wanna take it there. So it just depends.
All right. So my
we should take it that way now. Yeah.
Roberto got something else to say.
You have to.
Now, when you think about
you
it,
have to consider what's going on now. Like I said, if you have a spouse or something like that, you have to have a certain level of respect when it comes to that.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So my last thing is, well, maybe my last thing is, how do you guys? I know Candis touched on this, and Roberto, you may have earlier in the show, but either way, how do you guys feel about fathers trying to mend things with their kids after years of not being there? How can they make that up? How can they make things right? I know some fathers, if fathers listen out there, they might want to know, how can they make things right? What's the step they need to take? Is it possible? Like, what do you guys think about that portion of it?
Okay, well, I had as an adult, my father came to me one day and was speaking to me about things that he hadn't done in my life, and he wanted to, I guess, make amends with it. And it's up to the child to have a sincere heart about the situation, because you don't know what the father may have been going through at that time. So I would say that the communication part of it, just to get to know them, continue to try to reach out, and eventually they'll come back around.
Right.
Eventually they'll come back around if you consistently reach out to them, see how they're doing, even though you may have not been there for years on end. It's just the consistent reaching out, trying to touch bases with them on how their life goes, how their life is going, and the things that they may want to do. A lot of times they may be reluctant to speaking about it because it's you. They may have a certain level of anger in their system about it.
So
but
let me ask you
eventually eventually they get through that. But that's a personal issue that I had to deal with my father. So I know that child will have to have that same issue to deal with themselves.
So let me ask you this, and I'm gonna ask Candis the same thing. You can answer those two questions I just asked. Do you feel that, depending on the age, let's say the kid is 14, I'm gonna say about 18, 20, 21 years old, somewhere in that age, or maybe even 16. Do you feel like it's right, or I'm not sure if I'm asking this question correctly, do you feel like a child, or is there something wrong with a child reaching out, trying to amend, or should that be on the father to do?
No, the child can reach out. I think that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said, it's up to that child though, because if they wanted to understand certain things that are going on in their life, that they may be able to, that their father may be able to relate to. Right. So they may have something that they wanted to talk to them about, to see if I'm like this, I'm like my dad or something. Mm-hmm. They want to see, or some of those attitudes that you may have, or something like that, or the things that you may have going on in your life. Is it because my father wasn't here, so I'm gonna try to reach out to him and see if I can have a conversation with him about it or something. Right. And then when the father may hear that, they want to, and they see those certain type of things, they may want to reach out even more, be on a more consistent level with them. But like I said, it's a line of communication between both of them that if the child want to reach out, I think it's fine.
So Candis, I know you can answer this. I know you can answer this too, because you were talking about this earlier. How would you feel if your kid's father reached out to you and want to, try to mend things, work things out? What would be your thought process behind it? What would you do? What would be the steps? Like, just take us through that if that was to happen.
If that was to happen at this age and this stage, I would, of course, I'm gonna pray about everything first, because now, and we would have to establish some boundaries, because now I got him going this way and we in this direction. Right. And I don't know your parenting style. He's 13, you've been MIA. So I don't know your parenting style and what you can possibly expose him to. But I do know my child, and I know if he's gonna get influenced by something. I know my child. I know what kind of kid he is, if he's a follower, a leader, or whatever the case is. So if I feel like any way you're gonna sway what we got going on in this household, where it's consistent at, and you have not proved to me that you're gonna be a consistent factor or force in his life, we're going to set some boundaries, and that's going to be, and at this point, it's how I'm going to say and how it's going to go at that point. Not me trying to oh, no, because you've already been away from him for too long. I want my son to have a relationship, but these teenage years are very important as far as his transition. And if I got him out of some certain habits and patterns that could have been generationally coming from you, I don't want them being, fed back into. So, okay, y'all, if you want to take them or y'all want to go do this, I'm open to it, but there will be boundaries and rules set in order for that to happen, because you have to not only build your trust with my son, but you have to build it with me as his mother. And it ain't got nothing to do with me wanting you or knowing it got something to do with, can I trust you with my child? Can I trust you with his mind? Can I trust you with his physical body? Is he going to be okay mentally, emotionally, and physically when he's around you or in your care? But as far as me being nasty, oh, no, you can't see him because you've been gone for 13 years. Absolutely not. We will have to have a conversation, and my son will be involved in that conversation. You 13 now. So, son, Dad, this is what it's going to be. We understand you are missing. That's something you were missing for 13 years. That's something you're going to have to talk about with your son, and you can explain that to him. That don't have nothing to do with me at this point. So they can have that conversation. They can have that conversation on their own, but we will have a conversation together. So it's not no he said, she said. These are my expectations for what y'all are trying to build right here. This is my role I want to play in it. And here are the boundaries as far as I'm concerned. And then after that, we'll just see how that goes. It's kind of like a trial and error thing, like you trying out, because you got to try it for that spot now, because you done forfeited it. You done gave that up. Yeah. So just like we was talking about, you trying to figure your space within his life, and he's gonna have to try to figure out where you belong in his life now, because that's been a void that he's tried to fill or that he's negated for 13 years. So you got to try to figure out where you're gonna fit, and he got to try to figure out where you're supposed to fit. And because I want my child to be able to have a relationship whenever it comes, if it's with him, if it's with his biological father, if it's with another father, my prayer is for my son's ears and hearts to be open to whoever that person is that's supposed to be that man or that person in his life. If it's going to be his biological father, if that come away, okay, God, you need to do what you need to do, because this ain't about me. This is about my child. And
so
that's pretty much it.
You have a daughter, right? So is the same situation goes on with your daughter? Or how's the father with?
My daughter has never seen her father. After a few years with her asking me where he was and stuff like that, when I explained to her, I would show her pictures and stuff like that, and she would be like, oh yeah, because he did. And she would draw pictures, and the pictures would be like all kind of stuff and I say, well, what's on this picture? She'll be like, oh yeah, we went to Disney World, we did this. They ain't do none of this stuff. She never met him, but that's the depiction she got of her father. And I'm not gonna ruin it by saying whatever went wrong with us. Like, that's her depiction. That's what she does for herself. You know what I'm saying? To help her be able to cope with what it is. With her, it's a little different. My daughter is more verbal. So you're gonna know how she's feeling because she's gonna tell you. My son, you got to figure it out, because he gonna look the same no matter if he happy, sad, he got the same look on his face. And he's not gonna voice it one way or the other. You'll have to ask him. You good? You having fun? Like, you have to ask him. But with her, she just gonna tell you right off the bat. But I do see things with like, I play basketball and stuff. I have a lot of male friends, a lot of male cousins. So I watch her interaction with them, and it's automatic. It's clean. So that's why I'm very careful. I do not play with having different men around my children.
Right.
I do not play with that, because I know how my daughter is. She know that's missing, so she gravitates to that. So I don't play with that, especially if anybody gonna be serious and God ain't telling me you're supposed to be around my kids. I don't mix that, because I know my child. You know what I'm saying? I know my daughter, and I would hate for her to build a bond with somebody that's you just around because you doing whatever. You get what I'm saying? And that be ripped apart, because I understand and I know what that'll do to her. Yeah. And I just watch her patterns when men are around and stuff like that too. So I have to have conversations with her too, because that's a sticky situation too, with different men around your kids. I don't care who you is. You can be the teacher, you can be the coach. Like, certain things happen. So I have to have certain conversations with her, because there's still a boundary that has to be set. I don't care if you did see me around this person. Like, I have to have them conversations with her. She's a little girl. Not saying stuff ain't happen to boys, but it's a little more delicate when it comes to her. But as far as when she feeling a certain kind of way, she'll tell me, and I've cried sometimes. It hurt. that my baby is going through this or she feeling this way and I can't do, you get what I'm saying? I can't do anything about it. And then we'll pray or whatever the case is. And then I'll ask her, well, what is it that you want? Like, she was like, I just want a dad that's going to treat you right. Like, you see what I'm saying? She ain't asking for her dad. She wants somebody that's going to be here. And her thing is treating me right. Like so she knows, she's very intellectual. She can read between lines and stuff. I believe her situation is going to be a lot more delicate. And that's another reason why I wrote that book, Pretty and Brown, because I already see certain self-esteem issues and stuff going on with her, or that was going on with her. So I know with her and her father not being present, it's going to be I'm going to have to tap into a lot of different areas to prevent certain things happening when she grows up. I can already see some things. So I've been tapping into it real early. But yeah, her situation, I feel, with her father not being present, it's gonna be a little more delicate than my son's. It's gonna take some definitely a lot of praying, a lot of talking, a lot of trying to figure out other avenues and therapy and stuff with certain situations. I can pretty much, I can see it.
Well, at least you know it's coming. I'm glad you brought that portion of it up, because I'm definitely going to get you back on to talk about the whole dating process with kids. So I actually got an episode of that coming up. So I'm going to get you back on to that one, or for Topic Tuesday or Freestyle Friday. Was there a dog I heard in the background?
He's basically, he's talking to me. He's up there and he can't come down here. So that's his way of asking, can he come down the stairs? Yeah.
I definitely appreciate y'all for coming on. This is what I like to do at the end of the show. I like you guys to I will go to Roberto. Man, drop some knowledge, drop some gem, drop some advice. What you got for us before we head out? It can be whatever. It can be about the topic or just something that you like to go by.
Well, it'll be what I go by, man, is one can have no greater or smaller mastery than mastery of themselves.
And that's coming from the life master coach, Roberto Williams. And that's it. Did you have something else you wanted before I get with Candis? You good, Roberto?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Candis, what you got for us? Drop some knowledge for the ladies, for the fellas. What do you want the listeners to get from today's episode, or something that you always say? Just go ahead and put it out there for us.
Well, something that I always say is, don't be moved by the crowd, but move the crowd.
Hello.
So you can, interpret it how you want to interpret it, but it is what it is. Don't be moved by the crowd, but move the crowd. And basically, you be the frequency, you be the vibe. Don't go off other people's vibes. I just go with the vibe of the room. No, you bring that vibe, because when you depend on other people to put you in a good mood, it always goes sour. So you bring the good mood with you wherever you go. Thank
y'all so much for, and let us know real quick, Candis, how can we reach you and watch the show on Instagram? Let us know your Instagram handle.
Yes, you guys, every Tuesday, you can follow me now if you would like. Taylor_made 87 on Instagram, and it is TaylorMade on Twitter. Or if you look up Candis P, you'll find it that way as well.
Roberto, what you got?
All right, you can find me on IG at Life Mastery LLC. I'm on Facebook as well with Life Mastery with Master Coach Roberto. What else? I think I got something else on there. Also, I'm on TikTok. I'm new to TikTok, so that's funny.
Got to get you the TikTok tutorial
going. Oh yeah, man. But my TikTok is at Master Coach Roberto.
And I'm going to put that in the description for you guys when we're ready to post the show. So I'm going to get you guys information so everybody can follow you guys. Thank you both for joining me. Y'all hang tight. Don't go anywhere once I end the show. But y'all hang tight. Don't go anywhere. But I just want to let everybody know, thank y'all so much for joining the Myron J Show, Topic Tuesday, each and every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Make sure you guys tune in, listen, follow, share, follow these great people as well. We love to try to inspire, uplift, educate, inform people, all that great stuff on our show. So make sure you guys and share it. Share, follow, like, all that great stuff. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you listen at. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And we're not professionals. We're not experts. We're just giving y'all our life experiences and what we've gone through, what we've seen, what we heard, what we researched, that type of deal. So please leave us a comment and let us know what's going on your end. And to all the men that's out there that's doing a great job, that's being fathers, that's in the household, doing the best that they can, man. We love you guys. We appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing. It's not always easy, especially definitely not easy on the woman. We get that, but it's not always easy on us. So y'all keep doing what you're doing. Stay prayed up. Keep God first, and everything is gonna be all right. To the men that is not in their kids' life, brothers, please continue to try. If you are, try to do your best to stay in your child's life or to get in your child's life. Our kids literally needs us so much more than you can ever imagine. So please, fellas, if you can, if you're able to, amend those broken relationships, those with your child, with the mother, whatever it may be. They need us more than we know. We are the leaders and we are the mentors. We are the kings, and we have to do better and be better. And I always say, forgive and live. You can't live the life that God wants you to live, or a great life or a blessed life, until you forgive others, and definitely forgive yourself. So forgive and live. Y'all have a great evening, a great morning, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Status.